Well done, Samiksha. I think that's been great. A thank you note is the hardest part of any program, especially when you have to thank someone as esteemed and accomplished as His Excellency the High Commissioner of India to Singapore, Mr. Javed Ashraf. Words will certainly fall short if I try. But if I try to cover in full, then even days or weeks will not be enough. On the other hand, there are a few things that we thought we can share with the audience today. Firstly, thank you, Your Excellency, for taking time from your busy schedule during the phase 2 of the circuit breaker to engage with the GIIS community on such an important topic as engaging with the Indian expats in Singapore during COVID. It was such a lively and engaging experience, and a learning one too. I'm sure the students who have heard you today have taken valuable life lessons from the entire conversation. And after the interaction, we will be sharing this on social media platforms and the school's internal channels to ensure every student are able to see your messages. Secondly, I want to thank you for all the kind acts of support, encouragement and guidance to the entire GIIS fraternity and their parents and the students for the last few years. So much has been accomplished in just 3 years. But it feels like it has been a long journey since you came to Singapore as India's envoy and a representative of 1.3 billion people. In you, Singaporeans in the expat community found a learned human being of great wisdom, wild worldview, and smiling countenance, who would rather strengthen the deep-rooted bonds of friendship between the two great nations of Singapore and India. Singapore and India have hugely benefited from one of the greatest diplomats India has ever produced in the last few decades. You came here as a known figure with commendable track record in Indian administrative service and vast knowledge of history and traditions of the two wonderful nations. The deep-rooted understanding and respect you have for all faith and cultures, something that even late Sushma Swaraj pointed out to you, makes you a perfect representative of India and its rich cultural heritage. So if anyone else knew and articulated about India's culture and heritage so well, it was none other than late Dr. Abdul Kalam, who was the most admired president of all. GI students were fortunate and privileged to meet him personally at their campuses while he was on a state visit to Singapore as President of India, and on 2 other occasions, once to inaugurate the GIIS Palestine campus and another to speak at the GIIS Leadership Lecture Series. Something makes you very unique. You have a fantastic dual perspective of being a diplomat and also the mind of an entrepreneur. Very rare to find such a combination. Your creativity and leadership skills were evident whenever India and Singapore came together for community or business get-togethers or conferences. After your speech at the recent Republic Day celebrations, Ambassador Gopinath Pillai, one of Singapore's well-known former diplomat and an entrepreneur, paid you a rich compliment to say that perhaps you were the best speaker anyone can find in the whole of Singapore. And I can second to that, to say that you may perhaps be the best speaker in Asia. I would request you to share some of your speeches with GIIS students so that they would like to use them in their research work and to enhance their understanding of India and Asia. They are so informative, and at times I personally get to learn so many new facets about the Indian culture through your lectures. As an economics graduate, an IIM alumnus, a respected diplomat, a morally upright global citizen, the list is long, so excuse us if we have missed out anything. Since your arrival, you have successfully helmed many programs that have not just added color to the diversity of Singapore's social fabric, as you mentioned in your discussions. Your hard work and dedication was visible at the Singapore edition of Pravasi Bharatiya Divas in 2018. That event was a success beyond measure. Many participants had turned up than any other Pravasi held in India. I have attended at least half a dozen of them and can tell you that with 4,000 attendees at the Singapore Pravasi, this was perhaps the largest Pravasi ever held to date since 2003. and that too with the most relevant attendees. I remember late Susmaji paying you a rich compliment to you to say that you have worked passionately and relentlessly with every Indian of every faith and culture. GIIS students had the unique privilege to meet Sushmaji twice, and what a great leader she was. Amazing and excellent speaker. I remember she was speaking at the University Cultural Center, and after a few minutes in English, she said, "Ab Hindi mein ho jaye," and the crowds just broke the ceiling. She was so eloquent, precise and articulate, and a precious gift she has passed on to her daughter, Basuri Suraj. Sushmaji's speeches are now used by the present Alpha generation for reference materials. Our Hindi teachers across the schools tell our students to listen to Sushmaji's speech that she has made at the UN and many other significant events so that they can become a good Hindi speaker like her as well. Coming back, your initiation of fintech activities such as Inspreneur, which seems to be an acronym from India, Singapore, and the entrepreneurs, is a step in the right direction and serves as a right platform to showcase the joint strengths of India and Singapore. More so, your reassuring presence among the community during these challenging times of COVID-19 was a great source of power for the expat community, who knew they could trust your wisdom and ability to lead from the front for their welfare. You have lived up to those expectations and went beyond a call of duty to ensure that every Bharatiya felt safe with you as a Sarathi or a companion in this fight against COVID. You have also added depth and sincerity to the ideas of community service and universal brotherhood. On behalf of the entire GIIS community and expatriates in Singapore, we sincerely thank you for working towards strengthening relations between the two great nations, taking the relationships to a new high of cooperation, trust, and brotherhood. On a more personal level, we would like to thank you for your intellectual and moral contributions to the growth of GIIS students. Your Excellency, you are always encouraging GIIS students in all our endeavors. When we inaugurated the Smart Campus in 2018, you hailed the GIIS efforts for setting high standards in School of the Future and 21st Century Education, which has made our students and teachers beam with joy and pride. Your appreciation for the Mahatma Gandhi Center at GIIS was evident when you mentioned about it at all forums, and how the Gandhi Center was a symbol of harmony, and how the statue of Gandhi is a great inspiration for our young children to follow Gandhian principles of peace and harmony. The Indian community here was deeply touched by the mention of our very own Gandhi Center at GIIS by none other than PM Lee during his speech at the Gandhi Celebrations event by India on the sidelines of UNGA or United Nations General Assembly. Be it scientific projects like Solar Urja Lamp, making for the underprivileged in India, or fitness initiatives like the International Yoga Day, or unique art performances like those during the Independence Day and Pravasi, you always found time to give GIIS students the necessary encouragement to showcase their patriotic talents on every platform. Your support during the Inspreneur Conference 2019 was highlighted by none other than the Maharashtra government and has been a big boost to the students' morale. Some of our student projects were even mentioned by the social media handles of the Maharashtra government. You have been humble enough to roll up your sleeves and plant a tree at the GIIS campus in commemoration of Gandhi Jayanti, and when needed, are serious enough to impart your knowledge on the importance of sustainable living to young minds. We clearly remember the advice you gave to our young students during the UN Day of Nonviolence last year, when you said, moral strength will always outweigh physical strength. You invited GIIS students to the Netaji Subhash Chandra Memorial at Raffles Place when Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited in Singapore. These students were so fortunate and thrilled to see PM Modi in person. They had thought they were being taken for a field trip, but little did they know that they were going to be with the Prime Minister of India at the Subhash Chandra Memorial. We cannot be more grateful for your reassuring presence and your kind words of wisdom in our students' endeavor to become global citizens. Be it individuals, associations, or even entities, you have always found time and engaged with everyone in your unique style of warmth and camaraderie. Not to forget your articulate and heartfelt speeches. I have said this before and I say it again. You have always managed to effortlessly capture the true essence of every gathering, and your words have always been deeply meaningful, touching, and inspiring. Your smiling yet a disciplined persona has been a perfect demeanor. Now, as you move on to bigger things, I am sure you will continue to give the best to the community and to the nation and your signature style and make us all proud. During your stint in PMO and as High Commissioner in Singapore, you have worked very closely with the Prime Minister Narendra Modi. When I first got to know from the media that you were destined to go to France, the first thing that came to our mind was, hey, this is not just a normal posting. This is something very big lined up for you. Maybe some role in activating a permanent seat at the UNSC. But with you around there, we can all say nothing is impossible. Your mother is an educationist and a teacher. Once I had a chance to ask her, how did she train you to become what you are today? She just smiled exactly the way you do, and she said, well, you have to do it. Just like our parents are being made proud by the GIIS students, I'm sure your mother would be feeling extremely proud of you being able to serve the community and the nation in these trying times. We hope to meet you in Paris or in the future, and wherever you are, whatever you do, we know you are going to make the 1.3 billion Indians proud. The interaction with GIIS students today is perhaps the best way possible to thank you for your contributions to the GIIS fraternity, to the Singaporeans, and to the Indian diaspora in general. Thank you so much. Jai Hind and Bharat Mata Ki Jai.